Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The 21 Divisions, Mysteries and Magic of Dominican Voodoo by Hector Salva. Foreword by Hoodoo Sen Moise. Narrated by Gary Tiedemann. What you seek is seeking you. Rumi. Foreword. The tradition of the 21 divisions is one that holds many mysteries. The spirits of this wonderful tradition are there to bring guidance, assistance, freedom, healing, and so much more. And yet, they are often misunderstood and misinterpreted to mean something that is, in actuality, the complete opposite of the principles and teachings of this spiritual path. One of the things I love about Hector Salva's book is the detailed explanations of the spirits served and the relationships that are developed. The mysteries hold within them the power to create magical change and the wisdom to open doors that you never thought possible. From the bonds that hold us to the freedom we can achieve, service and relationships with the spirits are key. It is by that relationship, after all, that we tap into the magical force of the mysteries and potency of change in all conditions. Hector goes into detail with the principles which guide and allow for the listener to experience not just the words, but also the power to grow. The 21 divisions has within it the potency of the world of the spirit that meets with the world of the physical, the principle of the crossroads itself. The relationships you develop with the spirits of the 21 divisions continue to grow in love, strength, and wisdom, which in and of themselves are worth their weight in gold. Hector Salva has done an absolutely beautiful job in explaining this magical and spiritual tradition so that someone who knows very little, as well as someone who knows very much, will not only receive edification, but also a real and true understanding. This work is filled with knowledge, magic, and information that will surely be heard and reheard again and again. Whether you are a seasoned practitioner or a curious soul, you will find this to be a great help in understanding a tradition that is literally dripping with magic. I have known Hector for many years, and he is a priest who has always, and without question, been dedicated to the service of the spirits and the work of the mysteries. He and I have been in many ceremonies together, serving the spirits, and I can tell you that there is a precision and knowledge that he exudes which has been inspirational to so many. As my godbrother in the voodoo, I have myself often sought his counsel on many things. He always advises with wisdom and speaks from a place of sheer dedication. This is one of the reasons he is who he is. As I sit here and write this, I am grateful for the wisdom I have received and the power of the spirits I have experienced and continue to. Hector Salva has been a unique and ever-amazing presence in my own life, and that experience has been translated into this wonderful book. The edification you will receive will only continue to bring growth and wisdom to your own spiritual journey. This book is one that no student of the mysteries should be without. There is power in words, and the words here are no exception. Hector Salva knows magic, and he knows tradition. So let the power of his words bring understanding, magical change, and tremendous blessing in the life of every listener. You will not be disappointed. Hoodoo Sen Moise, author of Working Conjure. Introduction. The room was stuffy and hot. Dozens of people had crowded themselves into a one-car garage. And yet, even with all of these people here, the room was silent, except for Vicente, the high priest of the 21 divisions, hosting this event and sitting front and center while praying the Catholic sacraments. His voice fast and firm as sweat accumulated on his brow, his fingers counted the beads of a rosary he held in one hand as he rang a small silver bell in the other. Before them was the altar composed of 3 shelves, the first 2 higher up on the wall, and a third longer shelf that extended almost like a desk and waist-high, adorned with a multitude of saints and burning candles. Cigars, liquor, flowers, and various other liquids in bottles of all shapes and sizes were scattered amid the glowing lights. A beautiful wooden cross featured in the center, with 2 smaller crosses on either side. Another rosary of shiny red beads sat strewn on the altar. Various gifts, from jewelry and perfume to cash, fruit, and more liquor, brought by participants, sat on another table before the altar. Having completed a lengthy litany of prayers, Vincente rose from his seat as some music started to play. More than a dozen people circled around him waving flags, large squares of satin fabrics in many vibrant colors attached to a tree branch the length of one's forearm, dancing and swaying to the music. Others started dancing here and there throughout the room, while some simply stood in silence, watching the action. Various individuals stepped into the circle to dance with Vincente. They would dance together for a little, and then recede back into the crowd as another would come to dance. During the dance, Vincente and his partner would twirl in small circles in opposite directions from time to time, then both dancing toward each other, and then both slightly dancing backward. As the songs changed, or when someone was really feeling the energy, random exclamations of "Gracias a la misericordia," or "Thanks to the grace of God," would be heard around the room. This was the beginning of Vincente's ceremony to honor the 21 divisions and call upon them to come trabajar, or work magic, consult, heal, and prophesize for the congregation. Las 21 divisiones, or the 21 divisions, are a group of elevated and divine beings known as Misterios, created by God to serve God and help humanity. The 21 divisions is also the name of the tradition, which many adherents don't consider a religion, but rather a spiritual practice that goes hand in hand with their religious views. The tradition of Las 21 Divisiones is also called Dominican Voodoo. In some locales, it's also known as Los Misterios, meaning the mysteries, the same word used to collectively talk about these spirits. The 21 divisions is a form of Catholic Afro-Caribbean shamanism. It combines the elements of the native Caribbean religious traditions of the Taínos, African shamanism, Roman Catholicism, Haitian voodoo, and European magic and occultism. However, the 3 strongest elements of the 21 divisions come from the religions of the native Taínos and Arawaks who originally inhabited the Caribbean, the Africans who were brought as slaves to Hispaniola, now Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and the Catholic religion of the Spaniards. It's a unique blend of beliefs and practices from these major cultures that form its foundation. An oral tradition. This path is and was transmitted through oral teachings. Handed down orally, and at first within the bloodlines of the family only, the many ways of practicing are not recorded in any book. This leads to great changes in short periods of time, as anyone who has ever played a game of telephone or whisper down the lane is well aware of. The tradition is also dependent upon human memory, the capacity and willingness to learn and absorb information, and the commitment of the students so they can be fit enough to pass the teachings on. After receiving the teachings, the student-turned-teacher must also be able to correctly and fully share them with others. In order to preserve the tradition and its practices, priests and priestesses came together creating secret groups to hand down the secrets, knowledge, and rituals. Families who had preserved the knowledge within them did the same. Rules and manner of practice, as well as other information, would be shared and passed down to apprentices and students. Through various rituals, individuals would be admitted into the secret group and become a part of it, thus establishing lineages, lines of people deriving from the original group who continue its teachings and practices. As such, there are regional variances throughout the country. So, the names of the groups and how the Misterios are placed together vary from region to region, lineage to lineage, and so on. In some locales, they split the divisions according to elements or tribes. Others divide by the sense of the types of Misterios and where they focus their labor. In some areas, some divisions are recognized, and in other areas, they are unknown or little known. Regionally, as well, various Misterios or divisions hold different levels of importance. Some practices are influenced more by Haitian culture, others are more Catholic, and yet others feel the heritage of the Taíno Indians. This is part of the difficulty in writing a book about this or any other oral tradition. What may be true in one place may not be true in another. This is the path of the Misterios for a reason. Only by taking your own journey on the spiritual path will you begin to be illumined as to the sacred truth. The mysteries can be unraveled and understood, but only through walking the path properly. For as we always say, many are called, but few are chosen. Still, each lineage works and is correct because each is a complete system, a microcosm of the macrocosm. So, as long as the practitioner is delving only into the practices of the lineage to which he or she corresponds, and not mixing them, the practitioner will reach the goals, and with persistence, the answer to the great mystery. At this center is the great truth, the truth upon which all paths ultimately must agree. However, as with many oral traditions, you'll find that you'll always have someone claiming something different. Now, this is okay because of the tradition's variances. But no matter where it is found, certain spiritual laws govern all practices. It is these laws that truly determine the rightness or wrongness of a given practice. Like all things, there is a proper framework that keeps it all together and flowing. Some individuals, as in all walks of life, are confused and like to confuse others. This is simply due to ignorance and how a lack of knowledge snowballs upon itself. Unfortunately, a fool is often someone who doesn't even know that they don't know, and there are many fools. A true master, having unlocked the mystery, will be able to recognize truth and falsehood wherever he goes. I've written this book according to my own lineage, the lineage of the San Elias, Barón of the cemetery. This is one of the oldest lineages of the 21 divisions, as Barón was one of the first Misterios to become established in the New World. This lineage established the Cofradía, or Brotherhood of San Elias in Santiago, Dominican Republic. As such, the teachings and information presented to you here are based on my lineage and experiences as a priest and participant of this beautiful tradition. The 21 Divisions, Beliefs and Foundation. God and His Mysteries. According to the 21 Divisions, there is one God, known as Papa Dios, or Papa Bon Dieu. Papa Dios means Father God in Spanish. Papa Bon Dieu refers to bon, good in French and Creole, and Dieu, God in same languages, meaning good God, as in God the Father. God created the universe and everything within it. God also created universal laws. Early on in his creation, he made divine beings known as the Misterios, or mysteries. Once he completed creating and setting everything into place, he turned over the management of his creation to the Misterios. However, God is immanent, which means that the divine is manifested through and sustains the material world. Therefore, God manifests God's will through the actions of the Misterios. God is also seen in the Catholic Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, three, and yet one. Not all Misterios are good and work for God. As in Christian theology, a group of these angels followed the commands of Lucifer, fell from grace, and became demons. Working to defeat humanity and on the behalf of evil, they guide people toward selfishness, greed, and all the other evils that exist. Thus, a battle between good and evil exists in which one's soul, as well as one's life, is constantly being influenced and affected by contradictory influences. To many servidores, this corresponds to the Misterios de la Luz, the angels of light who remained with God, and the Misterio Malos, or Oscuros, the bad angels, or Misterios of darkness. The first work on God's behalf to improve humanity. The second are often known to be called Jab, Baca, and Demonios. Jab and Demonio both mean demon. However, the word Jab can also refer to an enraged mystery, even if it works under God. The 21 divisions are made up of all the Misterios of light that work on God's behalf. Those that serve and practice the 21 divisions also work on behalf of the spirits that are under God's patronage. These Misterios act as agents of the divine, enacting and expressing God's will. God created the Misterios to help guide man toward God and the good. As such, they also uphold the universal laws. As emissaries of God, they can be interacted with and communicate the divine plan. The divine beings known as Misterios are much like the angels and saints of Catholicism, in that each Misterio has a realm or domain over which he or she exerts power and influence. Each has sacred days, colors, and associations. Each one has his likes, dislikes, character, and personality. Male Misterios are known as Loa or Loases, and females Metresas. However, when speaking of them as a mixed group, they are referred to as Loa or Misterios. The Misterios are also referred to as Santos or saints. Most are also connected to and represented by a Catholic saint, but this doesn't mean that practitioners confuse them for the saints themselves. The names of the Misterios and their identities are not the same as the saint they are represented by. The Misterios are, in fact, the gods and spirits of the African and Taino traditions of those enslaved by the Catholic Spaniards. In order to keep their religions and beliefs, the slaves adopted and integrated the beliefs and practices of their oppressors with their own traditions. Due to the religious and socioeconomic environment of the Dominican Republic, the degree and influence of Catholicism in the 21 divisions is quite strong. Also, as with the saints of Catholicism, a person can potentially be elevated to the status of a Misterio. Some of the Misterios were actual living people who were deified after death by their people. So there are historical figures, actual people who, by having made many miracles, have become Misterios. By receiving service and devotees, helping people, and creating more and more miracles, a spirit of a person or other being can over time gain the necessary light, just like a saint, to literally transform into a being of light. The 21 divisions. The Misterios are divided into groups known as divisiones, or divisions. Each group contains an array of spirits with an energy that binds them together. There are said to be 21 groups, thus the name 21 divisions. Beginning at the highest level, there are 3 major divisions: the Black Division, the White Division, and the Blue Division. The Black Division encompasses the two major divisions of earth and fire. The White Division is also known as the Rada Division and connected to the energy of the air. The Blue Division is of water and encompasses the Misterios of the Taino Indians of the islands and the water spirits. Each of these major divisions is split into 7 divisions each. Thus, we get a total of 21 divisions. Furthermore, there are magical meanings, sacredness, and associations in the numbers 3, 7, and 21. All are considered lucky and holy numbers. These numbers are symbolic, though, because in reality, the divisions number more than 21, even if most practitioners do not work with all of them individually. Some state that the 21 divisions are the gods of the 21 tribes that came to Santo Domingo from Africa. However, more than 21 different tribes of African slaves came to the Americas and also ended up in Santo Domingo. The 21 divisions is rather a creolized mix of many spirits, both from Africa as well as the Americas, specifically Hispaniola. There are many divisions that are named after African tribes, so it's easy to understand the conclusion. However, often even those divisions contain other misterios that have no origin in Africa or are now creolized. As far as a final number, the misterios are in the end innumerable. One practitioner I know says there are 121 misterios in total, yet others say there are thousands. In practice, most individuals only work with a few of the divisions, and even within that context, only a few spirits in totality. Even the priests and priestesses will only work with a core group of the misterios, but will be responsible to do certain rituals to care for them all. A priest will also work with various misterios when needed and directed to do so. The truth is that no one could or even should serve all of the misterios. This is well known by those who are trained. 2 worlds in one. The room and the music were infectious. The energy roaring from Vincente's ceremony was in full swing. People danced with vigor and delight. Others laughed and socialized. Vincente and a small group of individuals, however, were totally in the world of the dance and singing the sacred songs. Eventually, Vincente's body started to convulse lightly, like a leaf rustling in a warm, soft spring breeze. His arms shook vigorously as he lifted them up and down, followed by a deep, wailing moan. People around him gently supported his body, making sure he wouldn't fall, yet also not disturbing the proceedings. As this happened, a large, heavy-set woman with light brown eyes and chocolate skin came forward with a white bedsheet and a pink kerchief. As he continued to gently shake and shiver, crying profusely, she, along with a few other women, stretched the sheet out over the floor. He was then guided to stand upon it. His face softened as a pink kerchief was tied around his head. Vincente was no more. Although his body was present, his spirit, soul, and consciousness were not. They were elsewhere. Instead, his body was being occupied and used by a divine being known as Metresili, the spirit of love and abundance. While she occupied his body, the people present would and could interact directly with the divine love and understand its messages to them. A white enamel basin filled with water strewn with flowers was brought before her to wash her hands. A fancy pink bottle of perfume with an atomizer was brought to her. She sprayed copious amounts of perfume over herself and the space around her, while tears gently rolled down the sides of her face. The room had again gone completely silent and still. Her voice came forward just a little bit louder than a whisper. "I've come to take the sorrows away from my children. The waves have crashed upon the shores, and they, the shores, haven't kept well. Wherever there is stone, the sea will continue to beat upon it. Who do you think will win? The stone or the water? It's not the fault of the sea, but of the shores. Various individuals came forward to receive her blessings. Her children, I presumed. She whispered in each of their ears after having shaken hands with each person. Shaking hands with her consisted of interlacing one's pinky fingers with hers and moving the hands, crossing each other back and forth. One person's face lit up as a wave of relief came over her. A stream of tears of joy came down her face with giggles. Metresili sent various thank you messages to people present by telling her children to pass them along. While this was going on, a champagne glass filled with bright red soda pop was brought for her to sip. After concluding what she wanted to say, she gently waved goodbye as tears began flowing down her face again. Vincente's body went limp into the arms of the same woman who had laid out the sheet for Metresili to stand on. This was Lila, Vincente's assistant, I would later come to learn. His body was guided over to a chair to recover. After a few moments, his eyes sprang open, and Vincente was completely back in his body. Metresili would be one of the many Misterios who would take over Vincente's body and the bodies of various other participants that night. They were being called upon and honored in this ceremony. In return, the people sought blessings, healings, answers to their questions, and solutions to their problems. They would look to the Misterios to aid them in fixing that which nothing else could. Only by divine intervention and assistance from the other world would they find what they needed. Some sought love, others protection, while yet others needed healing or to get some loved one out of jail. Their needs were many, but they knew the incredible power of the Misterios, where miracles are not rare, but common, and even the wildest things can happen. In the 21 divisions, the spiritual world and the physical world are intrinsically linked. Actions taken in either realm affect all others. Like a stone being tossed in a pond, what we do has ripples in our lives and the lives of others. As such, each side needs the other. The spirits need people just as much as people need the spirits. One cannot exist without the other. Therefore, there are rituals and ceremonies that can bring the physical and spiritual worlds into direct contact. Through these rituals, such as Vincente's, the Misterios can manifest and communicate prophecies, divine messages to assist the living, create miracles, work healing, and help those that serve them. The Misterios communicate many different ways. Through dreams, signs, and synchronicity is one way they often convey messages to those who serve them. They also use visions, spiritual sight, voices, and other spiritual gifts and abilities that have been developed by their servants. However, the most common way for a Misterio to come through, communicate, work, and heal is the vehicle of trance possession. The person is said to be montao, or mounted by the Misterio. This is one of the most defining factors within Dominican Voodoo. The focus is almost always the induction of trance in one form or another in most rituals. Dominican Voodooists are specialists in this capacity and amazing at it. In most lineages, one cannot be a full-fledged priest without this capacity. The purpose of mounting is direct communication, experience, and channeling to the divine and the power. During possession, the individuals mounted by the Misterios are known as horses or caballos de Misterios. The caballo loses consciousness, temporarily having the soul leave the body, though they are still connected. The Misterios take over the body by using it as a vessel, or a horse. Since they are taking the full ownership, possession, of the head, brain, and consciousness,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?